The Royal Highness Prince Charlotte of Wales has been formally granted the courtesy title of Duchess of Edinburgh. Social media erupted. News sources hurried to provide analysis. Royal commentators hurried to explain the historical significance of the title. For decades, it was thought that this dukedom, previously held by Prince Philip, would descend to Prince Edward. Instead, it was placed firmly in the hands of a 10-year-old girl, Princess Diana's poised, bright-eyed granddaughter. While most of the world applauded this bold modern move as a clear investment in the monarchy's future, not everyone inside Buckingham Palace was as enthusiastic. In fact, one royal insider summarized what happened behind closed doors in these 3 words: Camilla went ballistic. The Queen Consort, who had long worked to secure her family's status within the royal line, apparently burst in rage upon hearing the news. Not because she disliked Charlotte, however, the decision once again established a harsh line between royal and not royal, leaving her own family on the outside. Eliza Lopez, Camilla's granddaughter, had previously stood proudly by her at royal engagements. The public has seen her beaming at weddings and waving in jubilee parades. Despite Camilla's ascent to queen, her grandchildren remained commoners, with no titles, positions, or future in the institution. Camilla apparently felt humiliated after Charlotte was given a title with significant historical value. "They've frozen out my family," she was overheard saying. "They've made it clear. We will never be one of them." The announcement was not merely a ceremonial gesture. It was a message, a strong signal from the top of the royal hierarchy about who is important in the next generation of the crown. For Camilla, it meant more than simply a title. It was a public rejection, a royal slap to the face. As Westminster bells tolled and Charlotte's name trended worldwide, a different kind of commotion echoed inside the palace halls. The furious fury of a queen consort, who suddenly realized that the monarchy's future belonged to Diana's grandchild, not her own. When Princess Charlotte was formally awarded the title Duchess of Edinburgh, it was more than simply a symbolic gesture. It was a seismic shift in royal tradition, sending a clear message from the palace about who truly belongs in the future. For decades, the title had been saved in public anticipation for Prince Edward, Queen Elizabeth II's youngest son, with Prince Philip. In reality, it had long been assumed that Edward would inherit the dukedom upon his father's death. However, the monarchy has evolved, as have the calculations that underpin each of its decisions. In a startling departure from expectation, the title ignored Edward totally. Instead, it was given to Charlotte, the second child of Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales. Charlotte is only 10 years old, but she now holds a title that has historically been associated with royal continuity, duty, and honor. And this was a watershed event in her journey to become a key role in the crown's future era. Why Charlotte? Why now? Insiders believed the decision was carefully planned by King Charles III, Prince William, and senior advisors who recognized the strategic importance of giving Charlotte more than ceremonial status. In a constantly modernizing monarchy, symbolism is everything, and Charlotte represents the best of both the past and the future. She is the granddaughter of Princess Diana, one of the most adored personalities in modern royal history. She is also the daughter of Kate Middleton, the most admired and revered royal woman since Diana herself. Charlotte exemplifies purity, grace, and the ideal image of a contemporary young princess. She's been in the spotlight since she was born, displaying composure beyond her years and an effortless charm that captures hearts. More importantly, Charlotte's place in the line of succession is unusual for a female. Because of the Succession to the Crown Act of 2013, she will not be displaced by any younger brothers, a historic change that has allowed her to preserve her position as fourth in line to the throne behind Prince George and ahead of Prince Louis. Granting her the title of Duchess of Edinburgh indicates that the monarchy is preparing her for something far higher than royal appearances. Some sources believe this step lays the framework for her potential promotion to Princess Royal, a title historically reserved for the monarch's eldest daughter. Charlotte is being prepared, a top royal advisor said confidentially. It's no longer about ribbons and smiles. She is being prepared to bear a piece of the monarchy's legacy on her shoulders. Charlotte has been attending significant royal ceremonies with dignity since she was quite small. Whether it's her precise salute at Queen Elizabeth's funeral, her polished presence at the Platinum Jubilee festivities, or her quiet assurance at Trooping the Color, the world has witnessed her development not only into a princess, but into a cornerstone of the future royal image. The title solidifies her role. It grants her status, visibility, gravitas. While the people greeted the change with enthusiasm, not everyone in the royal family saw it as a reason to celebrate. Behind the palace's gilded walls, some saw the decision as an aggressive political move, putting Diana's family at the center of the monarchy's future vision while excluding individuals with no Windsor bloodline at all. For Queen Camilla, it was more than simply a disappointment. It was humiliating. Her granddaughter Eliza, who used to stand behind Charlotte at family gatherings, is now a distant memory. While Charlotte ascends, Eliza remains unseen to the firm. Camilla, a woman who fought tooth and nail to attain the inner circle of royal power, finds the pain excruciating. But the message is clear. This is Charlotte's time. The title represents more than just history. It is a crown in waiting, a promise, a signal to the world that the monarchy, post-Elizabeth, post-scandal, and post-Diana's death, is rebuilding itself around the House of Wales. At the heart of it all sits a little girl with her grandmother's fire and mother's elegance. Behind the diamond tiaras and meticulously staged photo ops is a truth few dare to admit. Not all royal grandkids are treated equally, and for Queen Camilla, that fact has become an intolerable thorn in her side, one that has only grown stronger with Princess Charlotte's stunning rise. Camilla is a grandmother in her own right. Her biological family, the Parker Bowles line, predated the crown's cautious welcome. She has 5 grandchildren through her children, Tom and Laura, children she adores, who would otherwise be respected individuals in British high society. Among them is Eliza Lopez, the bright, gorgeous granddaughter who made headlines in 2011 as a flower girl at William and Kate's wedding. Eliza, dressed in ivory satin and clutching Catherine's train, was briefly drawn into the orbit of global royalty, a small child at the center of a historic moment. Camilla saw that moment as a ray of optimism, a sign that her grandchildren, despite their lack of Windsor blood, might one day sit at the royal table. But over the years, that hope has faded. Unlike Charlotte, George, and Louis, who are nurtured from infancy to assume royal positions, Elizabeth and her cousins have been silently pushed to the margins. No titles, there is no patronage, no place in the hierarchy of precedence. Despite the fact that their grandmother has become queen, they are resolutely non-royal, and it stings. Camilla always believed that once she became queen, her family would finally be taken seriously, a former courtier said. But the truth is, the firm has never seen the Shand Parker Bowles line as legitimate royalty. This snub did not occur in a single blow. It's been a steady, deliberate exclusion. Concealed beneath courteous smiles and vague pledges, invitations to public ceremonies are unusual. Inclusion in official portraits is impossible. When it comes to royal concerns, Camilla's grandkids are considered like outsiders peering through the gates. And now, watching Charlotte, a girl barely older than Eliza, achieve a title with historical meaning, has revived every hurt Camilla tried to cover up. According to sources close to the Queen, the choice left her deeply hurt. Not because she disliked Charlotte personally, but because it served as a public reminder that her bloodline will never be deemed regal enough. She allegedly told friends that the move was unnecessary, divisive, and deliberately cruel. "It's not about jealousy," Camilla was quoted as saying at a private event. "It's about recognition, respect. My grandchildren have been treated as ghosts." In a family obsessed with appearance and legacy, being excluded is worse than being criticized. It suggests you were never noticed to begin with. And for a lady who has spent decades working her way up from mistress to queen, the prospect of her own flesh and blood disappearing from the royal narrative is distressing. What is more painful? Camilla's grandchildren are charming, well-adjusted, and fully capable of public life. However, capability is irrelevant in a monarchy. What matters is blood, history, symbolism. And the symbolism is unmistakable. Diana's grandchild now wears a regal crown as Camilla observes from the sidelines. No press release will ever mention it. No aide will confess it. However, within the palace, one reality is obvious. Camilla may have won the Queen's crown, but her family will never bear the heritage. The palace hallways are used to whispers, soft-shoed staff, hidden expressions, and a palpable tension hovering in the air. But they weren't expecting the roar of Queen Camilla's rage booming off the walls following the title announcement. According to various royal insiders, what started off as a peaceful discussion behind closed doors swiftly turned into one of the most heated private moments Buckingham Palace has seen since the Diana era. The scenario was simple: a private briefing at Clarence's house. What's the topic? The public reacts to Princess Charlotte's newly conferred royal title. But when Camilla saw the headlines, Charlotte of Wales named Duchess of Edinburgh, Diana's granddaughter steps into the spotlight. The future queen-in-waiting, something changed. She slammed the folder shut, one aide later explained, apparently startled. Her whole demeanor altered. It was like watching someone snap. What followed was a vocal outburst, fierce, caustic, and loaded with years of suppressed bitterness. Camilla charged senior advisors with undermining her bloodline, turning the monarchy into a popularity contest, and most unexpectedly spitting on everything she'd sacrificed to get here. Another witness, who declined to be identified, claimed she stormed towards the fireplace and threw a news clipping into the fire. It wasn't only about Charlotte, it was about everything. Decades of being an outsider, always striving to live up to Diana's reputation, only to see her grandchild crowned in the court of public opinion. "They've erased my family from history," she was heard exclaiming. "Is this what I get for sacrificing everything for this family? For Charles?" Staff were startled. Some remained frozen. One long-time lady-in-waiting quietly exited the room, unable to watch the Queen collapse in such an unguarded, humane manner. What startled them the most wasn't the wrath, but the suffering, the rarely seen fragility of a lady who had spent decades presenting herself as cool, collected, and untouchable. But Camilla was not a queen at the time. She was a grandma lamenting the regal destinies that her grandchildren would never have. The worst of it happened when she turned on Charles. Multiple sources verified that she approached the king directly, accusing him of favoring Diana's children and folding to the whims of William and Kate. Charles, caught off guard and already exhausted from weeks of political stress, reportedly stayed silent. The quiet simply fueled the flames. "Say something, Charles," she screamed. "You allowed this to happen. You allowed them to shove my family away like dust." Aides promptly intervened, calming the situation with polite distractions and gentle redirection. Camilla excused herself shortly thereafter and retired to her private quarters for the remainder of the day, but the harm had been done. By the next morning, news of the Queen's fury had spread across court circles. Some people sympathized. Others were quietly appalled. Several senior courtiers allegedly stated that they had never seen Her Majesty so unraveled. While no formal statement was ever issued, Camilla's team's silence was deafening, a message to those who could read between the lines. The Queen's rage had boiled over, not on the first page, not before the cameras, but in the firm's golden and guarded heart. For those who watched it, one thing became painfully clear. This was not only about the title. This was the story of a woman who, despite wearing the crown, felt as if she had lost everything. Section 4: Kate's Silent Victory. How the Princess of Wales outmaneuvered Camilla, around 590 words. While Camilla's rage bubbled behind closed doors, one royal remained calm, elegant, and quietly triumphant: Catherine, Princess of Wales. She did not gloat. She did not speak out. She did not need to. The title given to her daughter, Princess Charlotte, says it all. In royal circles, power isn't necessarily wielded loudly. Sometimes the silence, stillness, or faint movement in the background changes everything. And while Camilla spent decades playing the long game to become queen, Kate Middleton has mastered the legacy game. Behind every royal engagement, beautifully planned portrait, and heartwarming moment shared with the public, Kate has been playing chess, not checkers. With her steady hand, unwavering public image, and rising influence over both Prince William and King Charles, she has cemented her children's place at the heart of the monarchy. And now Charlotte's promotion to Duchess of Edinburgh, or whatever powerful title the palace feels appropriate, marks Kate's final checkmate over Camilla. This was not an accident. According to multiple insiders, the title discussion had been going on for nearly a year. William reportedly campaigned discreetly, emphasizing Charlotte's growing prominence and the importance of a bold move in reflecting a modern, merit-based monarchy. Behind William's outward diplomacy, however, was Kate, the strategy's hidden architect. Kate never asked for anything directly, a palace aide said. She simply made it clear through action, not words, why Charlotte deserved this. So how did she do it? With precision, grace, and patience, Kate has long recognized that the people are the ultimate source of royal authority in the current day. She didn't need to defame Camilla or take anyone out of the spotlight. All she had to do was stay the course and constantly earn the trust, admiration, and affection of the British people. Polls consistently suggest that Kate is the most admired lady in the monarchy, not Camilla, not even the Queen before her death. With fame comes influence, the kind that whispers in powerful ears rather than shouting. Every time Kate came out with Charlotte clutching her hand, the public swooned. Charlotte's impeccable curtsies and signature Windsor wave charmed hearts. Kate and her daughter evoked Diana's grace, rewriting history. Camilla, on the other hand, has battled to rebuild her image, which is still haunted by her history, and often regarded as the invader who supplanted Diana. While she may wear the crown, she has never won the public's heart, and that, ultimately, is what has rendered her impotent in this situation. When it came time to make a generational statement, the palace supported the woman and daughter whom the world had already identified as the future. It was not a hasty snub. It was a deliberate, exquisite reorganization of royal heritage. According to sources, Kate maintained her composure throughout the process, never criticizing Camilla, never reacting to provocations, and never actively campaigning. She did not need to. Her presence, dependability, and motherhood spoke loudly. So when the announcement came, she gave a sweet smile, said nothing, and returned to her tasks. The Princess of Wales was fully aware of what had taken place. Her daughter had been chosen. Her legacy was safe. Camilla had been outmaneuvered, not with force, but with skill. Kate won the crown game without having to raise her voice. She only had to raise Charlotte. As the royal family deals with the aftermath of Princess Charlotte's unexpected ascent, one man, King Charles III, finds himself between duty, dynasty, and home instability. He has always been the monarch of contradictions, a man raised in formality but drawn to emotion. a monarch who waited his entire life for the crown, only to inherit it in a period where the throne is becoming less important with each passing generation. And now, Charles is facing a new schism inside the royal family. Not political, not financial, but emotional. The schism between Queen Camilla and Princess Catherine is no longer a silent undercurrent. It's out in the open, wrapped in the plush velvet of regal pronouncements and sealed with centuries of custom. And at its center is Charles, a husband to one, a father to the other's spouse, and grandfather to both Princess Charlotte and Eliza Lopes, who are now being compared. When the decision was made to promote Charlotte to Duchess, it was not taken in isolation. Insiders confirmed that Charles participated in talks, meetings, and briefings. And while William led the push, and Kate silently reinforced her daughter's image, Charles gave the ultimate approval. He understood the symbolism. He knew how Camilla would react. However, the responsibilities of royalty and the necessity to modernize, eventually, outweighed marital peace. Charles is aware of how things appear, a senior courtier explained, but he also knows where the future of the crown lies, and it's not with the Parker Bowles family. That truth cuts deep. Camilla, who had undergone decades of public hostility and private exile for the man she loved, hoped that her ascent to queen would bring complete recognition, not just to herself, but also to her children and grandchildren. She envisioned a mixed monarchy in which her bloodline was carefully integrated into the House of Windsor. But Charles, as realistic as ever, recognizes optics. William and Kate are widely regarded as the monarchy's golden couple. Children, notably George and Charlotte, are living examples of continuity, tradition, and Diana's lasting impact. To elevate Charlotte means to strengthen the royal brand. To elevate Camilla's grandkids, however deserving, would jeopardize the line of succession and undermine the image of a blood-born monarchy. However, the personal toll is clear. According to palace sources, tensions between Charles and Camilla have been at an all-time high since the title announcement. Meals have become silent. Engagements are more strained. Staff have even stated that the pair is spending more time apart, with Camilla retreating to Ray Mill House, her own property, more often. He's torn, another source revealed. He is deeply in love with Camilla, but he also recognizes that the monarchy comes first. It always has. What's with the irony? Charles fought for Camilla for decades, taking on advisors, the press, and even his own family. However, as king, he has no choice but to support the image of a united, forward-thinking monarchy led by his son. He has effectively chosen William and Kate's path above Camilla's ambitions. It's a decision that might shatter the very family he spent years attempting to heal. However, it may be the only way to assure the crown's survival for another generation. A monarch is split. An irate wife, a son rises, and a small girl with a new title unwittingly at the center of a royal reckoning. For King Charles, this is about more than just legacy. It is also about loyalty. And just now, he's discovering that even kings can't please everyone when the crown is in danger. In the magnificent drama of the British monarchy, every gesture speaks volumes, and every title holds weight far beyond its ceremonial importance. The choice to elevate Princess Charlotte was more than just a family concern. It was a declaration of authority, legacy, and direction. In one quiet, deliberate step, the royal family made its decision. The future belongs to the House of Wales. Charlotte's new title not only honors her heritage, but also marks the start of a role she was intended to perform. Graceful, composed, and beloved by the people, she has already embraced her destiny with the same effortless elegance that her grandmother, Princess Diana, once possessed. This is more than just a title. It is a crown in training. However, every increase is followed by a collapse. Behind the palace gates, Queen Camilla's ambition of integrating her own family into the royal family has come crashing down. Her granddaughter, Eliza, who was once a beautiful flower girl at a royal wedding, has been quietly relegated to the background. Despite Camilla's status as queen, her calls for recognition have gone unheard. Yes, she wears the crown, but Kate is the one who commands the future. She sits by the king, but Charlotte is now walking the path of queens. Camilla's rage, anguish, and very public unraveling in private rooms just reinforces what the world already knows. The monarchy is changing, and not everyone will go along for the journey. William and Kate have discreetly, gracefully, and carefully positioned their children at the heart of royal continuity, and with each passing day, their influence becomes stronger while Camilla's hold fades deeper into the background. Finally, it wasn't a press conference or a tabloid exposé that changed the royal balance. It was a small girl obtaining a title and a grandmother realizing her own family would never be completely welcomed by the firm. Charlotte's ascension was inevitable. Camilla's fall was unforgiving, and now the palace has spoken, not in words, but in bloodlines. The future is apparent, and it does not go by the moniker Parker Bowles.